Here again with another Breaking Bad Season 5 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find out that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for all of you out there that are wondering, this is at least my 8th time watching the show Breaking Bad. It might even be my 10th time watching this amazing show. So join me along with the man, the myth, the legend, the Lucifer fanatic, the Dexter fanatic, and Breaking Bad fan himself, Crazy Coffee Man, in the comment section to discuss this awesome and amazing show. With all that in mind, this will be Breaking Bad Season 5, Episode 5. The title of this episode is called Dead Freight. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start off with a young boy riding a dirt bike in the desert. He finds a tarantula and picks it up and puts it into a jar. And then we have Hank settling into his new office as ASAC Schrader. Walt wants to run something by him, and then Hank admires Walt's new watch that Jesse had given him. Walt tells Hank that Skylar went to work today. She wanted to work. Oh, that's good. He has one of the people looking over her. Walt thanks Hank for him and Marie watching the kids, and then Walt tells Hank Skylar doesn't love him anymore. Walt starts to kind of whimper a bit, so Hank goes to get him and Walt a coffee. While Hank is gone, Walt attaches like an Ethernet device to Hank's computer and then puts a bug of sorts into a picture frame of Hank and Marie. Mike handcuffs Lydia to a table with Walt and Jesse there. He's going to call Hank and has a script for Lydia to tell him. If she does anything to tip Hank off, other than what's on the script, he's going to pull his pistol out and shoot her in the head. And then Mike tells Lydia to give the performance of a lifetime. Lydia tells Hank about the GPS tracker on the barrel. With what Walt did in Hank's office, they're able to hear all the conversations that are going on. Lydia tells Hank, I think I said tells Mike, about the GPS tracker on the barrel. But since the Walt put the stuff in the office, they can hear the conversations that are going on in Hank's office. And Hank asks Gomi about it, and Gomi doesn't know anything about it. Lydia swears she didn't know anything about it. And then Walt says to Jesse, you said put it to a vote, and I vote to kill her. Lydia again screams, I didn't do anything. And then Hank calls the Houston office, and they confirm that they indeed put the tracker on the outside of a barrel. In fact, all of the barrels. So all those barrels of methylamine are compromised because they will be tracked, and Mike, Walt, and Jesse could go to jail. Despite the news, Mike still wants to kill Lydia. Mike tells Walt and Jesse that Lydia put a hit out on him, and Lydia wants to talk methylamine. She wants to talk about an ocean of this stuff. Walt talks to Lydia. She wants him to swear on his children that she won't be harmed. And Walt does not do this, to my recollection. But Lydia knows about 24,000 gallons of methylamine. It's on the train, and the methylamine is on the train. It's being transported via the train to wherever it's going. And Lydia knows about a dead zone that they could potentially get this methylamine off the train. It'd just be 2 guys on the train, the conductor and the engineer. And Hank's talking to Holly, saying, ASAC. And Marie says if those are Holly's first words, she'll beat Hank with her shoe. Hank's picked up Heat on Blu-ray, asks Junior if he wants to watch it later. No, you can stop talking about me now. Because they were talking about Walter Jr. And then Walt and Mike are going back and forth about how they would get this methylamine off this train. And then Jesse suggests, what if we rip off the train and no one ever knows it got robbed? And then Walt goes, maybe, just maybe. So they scope out the place where the train will be traveling on. Jesse says it's perfect. we can do it right here. So what they just have to wait for is Lydia to contact them to tell them which car number or whatever part of the train the methylamine is going to be stored on. They get a couple big tanks and bury them in the ground. Todd helps put the water into the tanks they buried. Jesse explains replacing the weight, and then Jesse says no one else can know that they did this. And then Walt tells Todd, yes, they will know, which then, eventually they'll know, but then they will blame China for giving them a bad batch of methylamine. Junior has returned home, and Junior tells Walt that him and Mom need, or Walt tells Junior that him and Mom need time alone, and Junior kind of yells, "What's going on? Give me one good reason." Skylar tells Walt that she's his hostage, not his wife, and Skylar says, "Walt, a day will come when someone knocks at the door wanting to harm him." Skylar sees the dirt on Walt, and she's like, "What, out burying bodies?" she asks. And then Walt says, "No, not. I'm out robbing a train." Lydia calls Mike with the information for the train. Kubi is there as well to help distract the engineer and the conductor. And then Kubi has a truck parked on the tracks. The engineer and the conductor have to stop the train, otherwise they would run over this. That would not be a good idea to just blow that off the tracks. And then, so the engineer and the conductor come out, and then Walt, Todd, and Jesse are signaled to go to work by Mike. And Mike's watching everything from afar, or Mike's watching everything with the Kubi stuff and the other stuff. And he tells Walt to go. Todd works from the top. Jesse works from the bottom on the meth car, the train. Kubi has made it so the truck won't start, even with the engineer's help. A good Samaritan all of a sudden pulls up from the opposite direction, and Kubi goes to greet him. "Hell of a place to break down," the guy says to Kubi. And then he tells Kubi that he'll push him off the tracks. And Kubi's like, "No, I don't want to scratch up your thing." And he's like, "No, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it." So Mike gives Walt the heads up about the Good Samaritan. Like, "You guys got to stop." He pushes Kubi's truck off the tracks, and then Walt finally gives the signal for everything to stop. Jesse and Todd work quickly to make everything look like nothing happened as the train starts to move. Jesse actually lays on the tracks as the train passes over him, and Todd jumps off the train. Jesse, Walt, and Todd celebrate. And then we have the kid from the beginning of the episode is there, and he just kind of waves at him. And I don't think he really knew what happened or even had an idea of what happened. But then Todd waves back and then grabs his gun out and shoots the kid. And Jesse, before he does this, says, "No!" And I believe the kid's name was Drew Sharp, if memory serves me correctly. I didn't go back and look. But Jesse says after it happens, Jesse puts his hands on his top of his head, and Drew Sharp has fallen on the ground as we see the tarantula in the jar to end the episode. So a brilliant episode of Breaking Bad. Really like the tension here with the train stuff, the stuff with Mike, Lydia, Walt, and Jesse. It was all great stuff. This episode is a 10 out of 10. Big fan of this one. This is definitely one of my top 10 favorite episodes of Breaking Bad. And now I have to choose a character of the episode. For the females, I'm going to give it to Lydia. Lydia's actually been a pretty good character this season, which I don't remember her being that good, but she's definitely been a standout. I know Skylar had her moments in this episode too, but Lydia did more in this episode than Skylar did. And then for the males, I mean, Jesse, Walt, Mike, Todd, take your pick. I'll go with Jesse because he's the one that came up with the idea to take the stuff and the train wouldn't even know it was robbed. So Jesse and Lydia are my characters of the episode. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, El Camino, or Better Call Saul, or anything that I do on this channel, and keep in mind I have a playlist of a lot of different things, so check out my playlist. But if you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm with all the stuff that I cover, make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Breaking Bad. What would you rank this episode, and whom, if you had to choose, would be your male and female character of the episode. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, and show your damn support and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.